Hey everybody, time for a little bit of Habs and NHL news of the day for, I guess, Saturday. I'm filming this on Saturday. And we're going to get right into it, no wasting time today. So the NHL draft and restart plans should come out next week. This is according to Brad Treliving, and I read it somewhere else too. It's off the top of my head, I can't remember. He's the GM of the Calgary Flames, and he's saying we should expect to hear by the end of next week what the NHL plans to do with the draft and with the restart of the NHL season. So a decision, I'll read what I wrote here. A decision should come by next week by the NHL on the season restart and the draft. NHL needs time to get players here and give them 14 days to quarantine before camp. So that's a good point, is players that are coming back from, like, say, players coming into Canada, they have to quarantine for 14 days before they can do anything. I'm not sure in the U.S. if it's the same thing. I kind of doubt it. But I know for any players playing any games in Canada, and it looks like at least Vancouver should probably be a hub at least, and probably Edmonton. So I think there'll be 2 Canadian cities. So those players definitely going to have to. So that's going to take some time. Let me see, where was I? Work out hub cities. They got to work out the hub cities. Like I said, it looks like Vancouver, and I'm not sure the rest of them, honestly, but it seems to look like Vancouver. They got to figure out the travel, work visas for players that need them, and the playoff format has to be worked out. So it looks like they're thinking along the lines, from what I can tell now, it looks like they're thinking about not finishing the regular season games and doing some tune-up games. In what form, I don't know. Maybe that'll be like having training camp and having, like in training camp, you have some preseason games. Instead of having all the kids and all that in those, it'll be all the NHL players. And that's probably what they're going to do as far as tune-up games go. And then going into a format of either 24 teams seems to be most prominent right now, but they could go 20 teams, and it could be just the 16 teams. So we should hear something by the end of the week. So for me, I think finishing the regular season games are unlikely. I really do, because of the time they waited till now. It's not that they waited. There's nothing they can do till now. So I don't think there's any time left to finish the regular season. I think they have to pretty much go right into playoffs after they break whatever kind of training camp they're going to have. And at this point, I wrote here, due to timing, already we're looking at a very late July start and probably the beginning of August. So either last week of July, first week of August is when they're looking to start the season, or playoffs, I would imagine. And that might be just when camps, but I think if it's July, yeah, they'll have camps done. So we're looking at playoffs probably in August. For the draft in June, the idea may be slipping away, because what I've seen the last 2 days is that they might not, that the June draft is not as popular as it was. So I don't know what other plans for the draft the NHL has, but a lot of GMs are negative about the June draft. So there's a lot of GMs that don't want it. There's a few that are okay with it, but there's a lot that are against it. And we'll see. Maybe that's why the delay for the announcement is they're having trouble working out what to do. And apparently we're going to find out next week. Next up, can Max Domi play again until there is a COVID vaccine? Max Domi is a type 1 diabetic, and if you know anything about what they've said about COVID, is diabetics, it's not a great thing to be a diabetic and get this disease. So he probably will not be able to play, and I've read this in a few places now, that until there's a vaccine discovered or some form of treatment that'll keep him a lot safer than anyone else. And I read an article recently about how this disease is transmitted, and doesn't look to me like hockey's a great game to be playing amongst this. So I think players that have these underlying conditions like Max, I don't know if there's anybody else with diabetes like Max, but I think there are a couple, and they won't be playing. I don't see them playing. So, yeah, it's just, if it restarts, I don't think you're going to see Max Domi in the playoffs with Montreal. That's my personal opinion. Domi's also stated publicly that he wants to stay in Montreal. And oh, that's the next item. Did I write it there? Domi in no rush to resign. Wants to stay in Montreal as a center. That's key. He seems to be that he wants to stay here, but he wants to be playing center. That could be a problem. Domi also stated, just said that. He isn't worried about when the negotiations for a new deal start. As a matter of fact, he's saying it's not important right now. They've got to finish up the season and get to get to the rest of whatever's going to go on, then maybe that they'll worry about in the off season, whatever there is of the off season, about a new deal. He says he wants to stay here. He wants to remain a center. That's key, apparently. He doesn't want to move back to the left wing, which is a position that he played in Arizona. That's where he came from, Arizona. And he's only played a little bit of left wing here. I don't find with great results yet, but it hasn't been over a very extended period of time. So we don't know. But that's what he said. I kind of think if he really wants to stay here and they want him to play left wing, he's going to be okay with that. Next item, PK Subban says he's still a top defenseman in this league. Subban's career has been heading in the wrong direction for the past, I think, 2 seasons, maybe 3. So with so many things happening for him outside of hockey, I think he needs to set his priorities on hockey during the season. I think that's the key. Leading up to and during the season, he really needs to be more focused on hockey. And he's got a lot of outside activities, which is fine. No problem with it, but I think he needs to prioritize hockey to be number 1, and I'm not sure he's been doing that. So if he wants to be considered one of the best, he needs to do that. And he's 31 now, so at 31, you got to think he's right at the end of his prime. So you would think maybe he's not going like he's had his best years, but not to say that he can't come back and be a top defenseman. But at this point right now, I don't consider him a top defenseman. I consider that he could have a comeback without a doubt. The talent is probably still there, but like I say, the priorities need to be set so that hockey is number 1. And maybe now that he got married and everything done that way, maybe he'll be able to this season come in and concentrate a little bit more on what he's doing. Next up, NHL Fortnite Tournament for charity. So this is for all you younger viewers who like, and anybody who likes the video games. I'm not a big video game guy, so for me it's not that much, but I thought that I'd bring this to you. So a number of NHL stars will take part in an upcoming Fortnite tournament for charity. And the NHLers taking part include Patrick Laine, Connor Hellebuck, Nathan McKinnon, Sebastian Aho, Thomas Chabot, Mitch Marner, and Johnny Gaudreau. Those are the names I've seen so far. I imagine there's going to be other players as well. So this, it doesn't say when that's going to happen, but they've got plenty of time still, and it looks like that's going to happen pretty soon. So all you video game people, if you like Fortnite especially, you should check out. I don't know any other details. If I do hear more details about when and how to see it, I'll let you guys know. Next up, former Hab Alex Hemsky has retired. I don't remember him playing here too much, and if I'm correct, he got hurt here, and he didn't play a ton of games when he was here, if I'm right. That's why I don't remember him here a lot. So I wrote here, former, right, announces retirement. He had a 15-year career, 11 years with the Oilers, and he also had stops in Ottawa, Dallas, and here in Montreal. He had 2 70-plus point seasons in his career, which is not bad. I kind of remember him as more of a pesky, almost dirty player, but obviously got talent to put up 70 points. And 840 games, 45 games played, 174 goals, 398 assists for 572 points. That's damn good numbers. So he, yeah, good player. Good playmaker, apparently. Get a lot of assists there. Okay, next up. With all 31 AHL teams, will they be able to play next season? So I've talked about this before, about what's going to happen with the AHL. And doesn't look promising for next season anyway, for a short period of time, for at least 12 of the teams. So AHL President David Andrews isn't ruling out having as many as 12 AHL teams not able to play next season if no fans are allowed in the arenas. The AHL relies on the gate for most of their income, without much in the way of TV money, because they don't get a ton of TV money. But their streaming revenue apparently is pretty good, but it's not enough to sustain and support all 31 teams. Now, 19 teams are sponsored or owned by, I think, sponsored by the NHL clubs, and there's still 12 that are independent. And it's these 12 that are going to have problems and are thinking that they might not play next season. So he isn't sure how many of the 12 independent teams would drop out. But without fans in attendance for the gate and concession revenue, many, if not all, might have to take a season off and possibly have their futures in doubt. So this is what we're doing. So I don't know what's going to be with that, how they're going to take 12 teams out, only have 19 playing. What happens with the players on the 12 teams? I don't know if the independent teams have any kind of agreement with any team so that they get players funneled to them. This I don't know, or they have to go out and sign their own players. I think that's how it works. So it's kind of going to be weird. And what happens to all those players? What's going to happen to the ECHL and leagues? I don't know how many other minor leagues there are for hockey, but it's going to be tough because without the gate revenue, without the concession revenue, there's not a lot of income or income streams for the AHL teams and the lower teams. Same thing in baseball, as I said in another video. So I don't know what's going to happen there, but it's up in the air, and we're going to find out over the next few months, obviously. Now, last item up for bids here, is if you are all still having trouble coping with all this lack of sports, lack of hockey, why don't you get one of these emotional support hockey pucks? You got to watch my video to find out how to get one. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you liked the video, give a thumbs up. While you're on the way down there to do that, leave me any comments about any of these stories in the comment section. What do you think? What do you think about Max Domi? Do you think he'll be able to play? What do you think they're going to do with the restart of the season and the draft? What do you think about PK Subban? And yeah, let me know in the comment section down there. And while you're down there, subscribe and ring the notifications bell. And that's going to get you your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge right here at Talkin' Habs. So thanks, everybody. Please be safe out there. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Stay inside as much as you can. I ought to write a song about that. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you next video. Peace out. Thanks for watching.